I'm back.
Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Also, RJ, I'm doing the Bandit over the wire. I don't know if I realized how little I actually did this, because I'm using the find command a lot and doing lots of stuff with find that I've never had to do before.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I've learned the stuff in the last half hour, too.
It's actually kind of fun, because I've never gone
I've
this
never
far
used
with
find to search by file size before. So I learned some stuff, and hopefully other people do.
Yeah, no, I had to open the man page for that one to figure out what exactly the size stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to figure out the perm
For some reason,
one.
there's like a C keyword meaning bytes, because apparently B means 512 byte blocks.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Interestingly, if you use the head command, there's a C flag for bytes. Hold on, let me check that it's actually head.
Yep. So for reference, the stream is up, just so you know. Don't say anything too lewd.
Okay.
Well, that just filtered every statement that could have come out of my mouth.
So the YouTube stream is up. Cool. Blue streak.
Oh no.
Make sure your cameras are off so we don't limit this stupid thing to 25 people. That's super dumb.
Is it really 25? I thought I saw
Was
last
that only
time.
because of the camera?
It was literally only because we had the cameras on. Once we turned our cameras off and left, and it was fine.
Could have sworn I saw multiple people with cameras on the last time, or at least some people with cameras.
I had my camera on,
and like 30 people plus.
Well, you can update the limit. Right now, it's set to infinite, but then there's a little slidey bar that says you can go up to 99. I think with video.
This was not it. This was not it. I distinctly remember us fidgeting with it, and then we finally got it to work. When no one had their camera on, not their screen share, but like their webcam. All right, cool. So what I need to do is I need to go to somewhere. Where are you? This. I'm going to slide one. Present. And then we're gonna go share screen. That one. Go live. So that's one thing, and then I need to go on my other computer and click watch stream, because that's the one that's actually going to YouTube. And then hopefully it's going to function. I think I may have to go back here. Is that going to work? Yay!
Is this going to be the permanent link for the video? So I can send this to the OS guy.
Yep.
There we go.
Hey, Chris. Would you be cool if I got old Chris to kind of give us Linux folks for the CyberDogs 1 team kind of a crash course on it? Basically a refresher session for CDE, not CDE, DOE Cyberforce.
Sure.
I actually don't think Chris Gardner ever played Cyberforce.
Well, he's the Linux god. He's basically the Linux version of Seamus, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So he must know something about it. I'm really
Although
thinking.
I'd actually recommend Zach more than Chris. They're both.
Yeah, I was like, isn't Zach like
Zach? I'd say is more of the like sysadmin guy, but I'd say Chris Gardner is more of like a Linux red teamer.
Well, maybe we'll get them both because it'll be good to hear both sides.
No, that's fair enough.
I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm just realizing that I'm closer to being actually capable of with the firewalls than I am with Linux, and so I need, because it's going to be split apparently. I need to work a lot harder to be competent. Hello, friends. Everyone who's joining. If you're not already, make sure you're muted. If you start making noise, we will mute you, like server mute you. But if you want that undone, just like at RJ or Chris or me, and we can undo it, and you can manually mute yourself. Did you know, RJ, that I use chopsticks to eat chips to make it so I don't get Dorito dust on my fingers?
That is both big brain and the smallest brain thing I've ever heard at the same time. Because I'd imagine you've like broken a few of those chips and just had them scatter everywhere trying to eat them with.
I'm not I don't think I'm capable of grabbing that hard with chopsticks.
In that case, you do you.
Yeah, I'm more worried about it like flipping and just dropping the chip.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with chopsticks. So I actually, even like little tiny ones I can grab.
I'm alright at it. Actually, lighter stuff is easier to pick up than heavier stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Mainly because it's just kind of hard to get a good amount of leverage on the chopsticks while also maintaining control over the ends of them. I just wish I had sushi. Sushi's great, but it's expensive. There's a place in like Colombia, I think. Is it Colombia? Maybe it's Ellicott City. There's a H Mart there, and in the H Mart there is a like a sushi joint, right? And you can get like 100 pieces of sushi for like $40. It's great, and it's actually good sushi as long as you're not getting it on a busy day where they have to like backload it to keep up. So don't get it on like Super Bowl Sunday, but just a random Tuesday, it's really, really good sushi. And it's cheap too.
Nice. All right. It's 7:09. Looks like we have 20 or so people. We're going to give it a minute or two, and then
we'll learn how to become elite hacksaws, or at least start figuring out what exactly Linux is.
Yeah. While we're waiting for people to join, does anyone have any quick questions?
You are on stream if you do use your voice, but if you don't want to use your voice, there is always the stream Q&A, which you'll want to use.
The Gumby Meetings Q&A channel?
Yeah, the stream Q&A.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Wait.
Stream Q&A.
Okay, stream Q&A.
That's the one for the stream.
Why do we have so many channels?
Well, I put them in. I organize them. You can click like the little arrow, and it minimizes them, so you don't have to bajillion channels in your face.
But there's still a bajillion channels.
Not enough, I think.
No.
I will mute you, Charles. You need to mute.
If I had my way, we would have like one general. And
all right. Server
mute.
Here we go.
On your stream, by the way, it's only taking up about a quarter of the screen.
Oh, God fucking damn it. Why am I doing this to... Why do you make me suffer? Come on.
Richard, you told us to be careful what we say because we're on stream, and then you say that.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm very unaware of my swearing. I apologize to all the non-college students. And yes, that includes old people. Alright. I'm new to this, so is there an app we need to download or any software we need to learn Linux? You will want to watch the previous one. Chris can link it to you. That's talking about making virtual machines using VirtualBox. And during that, we went over how to make a Kali VirtualBox VM. And you can use what you made there to mess around with Linux. If you're on Mac, most of this stuff will work if you open your terminal. If you're on Linux, of course, it's going to work. If you're on Windows, some things work sometimes, because Windows did some stuff if you have Windows 10, but generally it's not going to work.
And then during the lab we'll be showing you, all you'll need is a browser like Chrome or Firefox.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll teach you how to... well, technically we'll need Putty as well, but we'll walk you through getting that. So Don't worry about it for now.
And these are recorded, so if you're like, oh crap, I should have done that before, but I didn't, and now I'm unprepared, it's fine. You can just watch the stream again. And as always, you can always ask questions, and in the chats above us, there's some other stuff in the student area for questions. And we'll do our best to answer. Sometimes it's just a simple restart. Other times we can't figure it out. So if you can't figure out, don't hesitate to ask. I should say sometimes I can't figure out, but someone like RJ or Chris might actually be able to be helpful.
All right, so we're gonna get started.
Are we ready?
And by that we mean we'll Google it, and then hopefully that...
All right. Hi. Welcome to Gumby Meeting number 2. This is a Linux crash course, the absolute most basic degree. So if you hear Linux and you're just like, I don't know what that is at all, that's for you. If you already know how to navigate the file system, maybe you'll learn something. There's some other information in here. There's some other stuff other than navigating the file system, but that's all to come. So what is Linux? Linux is a free and open source operating system used almost anywhere. You'd be surprised all the things that use Linux. If you look in your pocket, if you have an Android phone, it's using Linux. If you have an iPhone or a Mac, it's not using Linux, but it is very similar because they're both using a thing called Unix, which we'll get onto. Internet of Things devices, like your smart toaster or whatever. I'm not insulting your computer, I promise. Probably uses Linux. Your router definitely uses Linux. The servers you watch budget computer builds on, everything runs Linux. Who wrote this? It probably was me.
It was you.
The only place it's not dominant is the desktop market, which is what most of us kind of interact with. Where Windows is king, but even Windows is integrating Linux functionality recently. It's an operating system built for what you need. There's basically a Linux distribution for whatever you want. Some distributions include Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is used in the enterprise. It's pretty much big business kind of use it. You can actually get certifications to be a system administrator for that. You can look those up. I think it's Red Hat Certified Network Administrator, something like that. There's Alpine Os, which is, it only takes up 8 megabytes of disk space, which is super tiny. It's used in a thing called containers, which we're probably not going to get to. Ubuntu, very common. With many other distros, they actually use that as a base. So Linux Mint, if you're a Windows person and you want to get into Linux, but you don't want to relearn how to use an operating system, that'd be great for you because the GUI is very, very similar. If you are a Mac person and you want to have the same thing, there's a thing called Elementary OS, which looks and acts like a Mac. My favorite distro personally is Pop! OS, and all of these are based on Ubuntu. There's other things like Fedora and CentOS and things like that.
I feel like I'm missing the emails from them.
I'm going to mute you. I'm sorry. Oop, that was... Yep, there we go. Cool. Please mute yourself if you haven't already.
I think they were actually asking a question.
Oh.
If you have a question, put it in the Gumby Stream Q&A text channel.
Yeah, it sounded like it was unrelated. On Linux, the one thing you're going to have to deal with is the command line. Oftentimes, there's a GUI way to do everything. In Ubuntu, pretty much everything you'll find a GUI way to do it. But eventually, if you want to really get good at it, you're going to need to delve into the command line. It's not actually that scary, and we're going to kind of go through over ways to use it, such as navigating the file system. The file system is like a Windows file system. The equivalent to the C drive on Linux is the root directory. It's right here, although you can't really see it. There's within the root directory, there's different sub folders. Folders and directories are the same thing. There's the bin, which is common single user Linux commands and binaries. So like the change directory command would be
a quick interruption. The / is the root of the file system. So if you do cd, or sorry, if you go to / on Linux, it will be the same as going to like C : on Windows, of where like everything starts from there. And then Richard's going to be talking about different files that are at the very base of the root of the file system.
So these are all folders within the root. So this / is the root directory, and beneath that is the bin directory. The etc or etc holds configuration files, startup, shutdown scripts, etc. Home directory is where your user files go. There's the /root for the root user, which is basically the administrator of every Linux system. User holds programs for, well, the user, other programs. Var is variable files that are expected to grow in size.
Wait, what's a binary, Chris? Or not, Richard? Why did I call you Chris?
Thank you. That is a good point. A binary is basically... It's like an exe file. It's a program that you double click and it runs and does things. It's usually a compiled program. It's made to be as efficient as possible. Exe programs are actually binaries.
Mm-hmm. That's a good explanation. Thank
statement?
You. So on Linux, the commands that you run are actually individual binaries. So like if you want to do a specific thing, you type the name of whatever command you want to run, and it'll go to somewhere in, most likely /bin or user bin or a similar location, and actually run that executable file to do what you want. So we'll give you a better example of that in a demo, but that's more what we say is all the different commands you can run on Linux are contained usually inside of /bin or /user /bin.
Yep. So that's basically where all your programs go. Here's a pretty large description of all sorts of different things. So in the blue here, under bin, these are all different commands you could use. So you may, if I can find it, there's mkdir, makedir, that's the same on Windows. You've probably used that if you have done 201 or higher. It's making a directory. There's some other stuff also all over the place, but you can look at that in your own time. You guys do have access to these slides. And we're going to start going over some more complicated commands rather than just a high-level overview. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask if you're comfortable being on the YouTubes, or you can ask in the stream Q&A questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm always confused with root and main user. It's just I don't know.
Okay,
Can you-
so
yeah.
the root user is basically it's the administrator. He can do whatever he wants with the system. In fact, you're even able. It gives you a lot more power than even the Windows administrator. You can, if you wanted to, which you definitely don't, you could type in a single command, and it could delete your entire file system. It's that powerful. A normal user generally can't do that. There's ways to kind of elevate a user's privilege, but generally, as I think we stated before, we always want to operate on the principle of least privilege, which basically means if you don't need to do something, you probably shouldn't be able to do it. The root user is the one who has the ability to do basically everything. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? All right. Who's going next? Is it Chris?
Me.
You're going next. All right. Do you want to take the stream, or do you want me to just continue streaming the slides?
Yeah, if you can keep streaming it.
All right. Cool.
So I'll just let you know. So go ahead and do next slide. So this is what Linux looks like. It's exciting. That's all there is to know. Thanks for coming. So just a high-level overview of what that kind of looks like when you're interacting with Linux. Most of the time, you're going to be interacting in Linux with the terminal rather than using the GUI. So you'll be pretty much reading from text on a screen and writing text on a screen, just like in the movies.
GUI, or GUI, as I was saying, stands for Graphical User Interface. It's basically all the shiny things like double-clicking on web browsers and things. Those are all graphical user interfaces.
Yeah, so there's no, like, you don't really use your mouse here at all. And that kind of comes from the days where there wasn't any graphical user interface, but it's extraordinarily powerful. So this is kind of what the prompt will look like for you when you're interacting with the terminal. So the first thing there you see is root. That's the current user that you're logged in as. That one being the most powerful user. And then it's saying at, so you're this user at, and then what computer are you on? And this one just happens to be called Fantasy. It can really be whatever name. And then following that is your current working directory. So in this case, root is currently just in the /home directory. So just right off the root of the drive into the home directory. And then that green blip you see, that's where you input your command. Currently there's nothing inputted. So in the next slide, here's an example command. So echo, that's kind of just like going to reflect what you write back out. So if you say echo hello, it's just going to write on the next line hello. And echo itself is its own program, and it's a binary, and it's located in the /bin directory. You don't really need to know that though, but well, I guess you maybe do.
You do need to know it.
Yeah, sorry.
For CD, you need to know it.
Yeah. So when you type echo, do you want to say something?
So the reason why I put the slide in is because this particular structure is very, very common within Linux.
Okay. Let me get to
the
that.
echo is the command. There's this -n here. Sometimes we'll say -n, but it just means like the minus sign and the letter n. Those are kind of modifiers, right? Some common things you can do if you in a lot of different programs is -v or verbose, which means it'll give you all the information that's going on behind the scenes. Usually that's used for debugging and trying to figure out what's wrong. There is there another one you can think of?
Like commonly used ones like
Yeah.
-v for verbose. It's kind of hard to point to a universal one, so the point I want to make
R
here...
for recursive.
Yeah, -r for recursive. So, and there's also -o for output. If you've done 202, you have the G++ command. The -o is output, and that's telling the system what file it's going to put it on. The bits here, the ones after that, are arguments. That's basically what you're telling this particular program, Echo, to do. So what echo does is it just repeats what you said.
Yeah.
And so you're saying, all right, echo, do whatever -n does, which I'm not exactly sure.
It says it on the
Oh
side.
yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
add a new line. So don't add a new line and then print out the words "Hello World." Looks
So-
like there's a question. Oh,
Yeah, I'm just trying to continue off what you're saying. So the it's completely up to the binary how it wants to treat its arguments, and each binary is going to have maybe its own arguments. And like Richard said, there are kind of like shared or common ones, like the TAC or recursive TACO for output. Those are kind of just conventions. And typically you'll see like for example, TAC N, and then you'll see like an argument afterwards, like hello. Except in this case, TAC N doesn't have another argument after it. So maybe you'll say like, for example, you compile a program and you do ECC your source file and then TAC O output. So TAC O is saying the next argument is going to be the output, the outputted file name. In this example, though, TAC N doesn't have a follow-up argument, I guess you might call it.
it does. So what's happening here is they're calling the echo command. The -n is saying don't do a new line, and this -n is only applying to the hello. So
No,
the
that's not
terminal
the case. I don't
is
think
that not right?
TACN is just tagging it as don't add a new line to that whole end of that thing.
So you're telling me if I do that, it's going to
Print hello
give
world
me-
and then your prompt on the same line.
yeah.
Okay, I was mistaken. I thought it was just making it so it was doing hello and then the world, so it was doing them one after the other.
Nah,
Yeah, so generally there's either like flag arguments, I like to call them. So like TAC in, it's either there or it's not. So it's kind of like a true or a false. So in this case, it's being set as a flag. And then there's the other one where you specify something else. And if you have to specify like a list or something or multiple, usually that's done with commas or something like that. Again, it's completely up to how the program does it.
And we'll be showing more examples of how those
Yeah.
arguments work
yeah,
as we do some examples later
I
on.
learned something new today.
yeah, just move on. Let's
Well,
not
hang
get
on,
hung
hang
up on one.
Well, let me finish up on that slide.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of important because these are just how all commands are going to be structured. You're going to have your command and then various arguments, and each space is going to represent an argument. So even though this is just going to, I should have showed the output, even though this is just going to print out hello space world, hello and world are technically different arguments, but echo just decides to ignore that and print out both of them with the space between it. Now we can go to the next slide. So basic directory traversal, this is how you're going to be moving around to work in different directories rather than having to type like the directory that you want to work on each time. It's kind of like if you're in Windows or Mac and you're just in your file explorer, this is kind of the same thing. It's where you're currently working on things. So PWD shows you the print working directory. It will show you exactly your path. So that'll be like /home/user/user, or yeah, /home/user, and then all your files will be there. That's usually your default login location. CD will change your directory. So if there's a folder, you can move into that directory, and then you can. We'll later show you ls and you can see all the files in that directory. To go up a directory, you use cd ... and the ... just means back one. There's also dot, which just refers to your current directory. So if you did cd ... you wouldn't move at all because you just say go to this directory, which is the one you're in. These should all actually say.
So these dots and dots are generally a pretty universal thing within the file system. And so it's not tied to the cd command for you to use those. If you use another command like copy or cp, and you do copy and then the file you want to copy, and then 2 dots, it's going to move that file one level up. So if you have it in your home directory and you want to move it somewhere else, one directory out, you can type that.
Yeah. So these all say folders. They should actually say directory because they're all just called directories in Linux. But moving on, the tilde. Moving on the cd commands. The tilde there, that just means your home directory. So that's usually just going to be /home/your user. The Windows equivalent would be like c users and then your user. So it's kind of similar there. It's just /home instead of /users. And then continue. So how do you figure out what's in these folders? Okay, this is just giving some examples actually, but there's a slide after this that will show you. So you see in the first
reference those yourself.
Okay, sure. So ls, that's going to show you the files in the directory, and then like we showed you with the echo command, there's various arguments you can do. So ls will just show you all the files, but there can be hidden files, and maybe you want more information about the files there. So tac-l will give you useful file attributes. Tac-a will give you all the entries, so there can be hidden files. Any file that starts with a dot is hidden by default. And that just means you need to use tac-a to show it. It doesn't mean much else. You can sometimes combine arguments by just doing like tac-la. If you put them together, it'll do both. And then you can also just refer to a specific directory. So examples down below there. Next slide. And then that's kind of an example. So if you see the second one with tac-a, you see the two, the dot file and the dot file. Those are technically like what, symbolic links or something like that.
They're hidden directories. I don't know if they're symbolic.
Yeah, we should have had a hidden file here as a better example, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought about that afterwards.
There'll be examples of that in the lab.
Yeah. Those are really
okay.
dark
And then here's ls tac-l. So now you have a lot more information. I think there's probably an animation, so go ahead and click next. Okay,
yep.
so there you have the file names, and then next. Date modified, that's important. And file size in bytes. I think there's also a command.
It's tac-h, which means
tac-h.
So this is in bytes, but if you do tac-h, it'll tell you exactly how many bytes. So this looks like it's about 6 gigabytes.
No, it's megabytes. 67 megabytes.
Yeah, 67 megabytes. And it'll tell you that.
I don't have gigabytes of space on GL.
And then next, so that's the owner and group. The owner is the user that owns it typically, and then the group is, you can have users part of a group, and then only people with that group can maybe have access. Usually when you're just kind of using Linux on your own, the user is what's most important to you, but if you're collaborating in any shared Linux environment, then group is usually more important, I think.
Yeah. And they're usually identical on your home system. Like, it'll typically be the same name for both.
Yeah. Link count, I'm actually not familiar with that. Can someone else explain that one?
That is a file system level like link. Basically, you can ignore it. I don't recall a time I've ever had to use it. But I guess it gives you an idea. So like for the ones that say 1, like the only way to get to that file is in this directory from this location. But like if you had a symbolic link to this directory, those might all go up to 2.
A symbolic link is a shortcut in Windows.
Yeah, it's like a shortcut, but slightly lower level. But details. Basically, you can ignore that. Like I don't think you'll ever need to do that. But that's just what it is.
So next you have permissions, which I think are a great deal simpler than Windows. Windows, it's actually a little bit more confusing to kind of look at what the permissions are for a given file or directory. This one just straight up shows you. The way you read this is...
We'll get in. There's another slide on it.
Okay. And the final one is just, you'll have an attribute there. The D just means directory. And then we'll go over how to read that later. Creating files... press next. I think there's text that goes with here. Oh, okay, yeah. That's weird.
So the touch command.
Main one to know, yeah, is the touch command. That just creates a new empty file. It's a blank file.
It doesn't
has nothing in it.
Create a new file. What it does is it touches the file. So if the file already exists, it updates the last time it was used. But it does not edit it. If the file doesn't exist, then it creates it. So if you type touch, it's not going to delete anything, which is quite nice.
That's good to know. I didn't know it actually updated the file. And then someone added truncate on here. I've never actually used that command before, but I guess that's an alternative way of doing that, or emptying the file.
I was just doing it for posterity's sake or whatever.
Okay. Next slide. So copying. Yeah, click through for the text on here. So copy, it's just source destination. So copy a file from point A and put it in point B. So you can refer to either a directory, or you can give it a directory and then a name, and the name that you give it will be the new name it is in that directory. So if you do copy test file 1 and then space test file 2, you'll create a new file named test file 2 that is the same as test file 1. And then all the normal directory stuff works here. So dot or tilde slash or the full absolute path, that all works. Move is like cut, and it can also be used to rename files. So if you move a file to the same directory it's in and just give it a new name, then it just kind of renames it. That's about it for these two. So copy and move, or like copy and cut. Oh yeah, and tab completion, very useful. Just when you're in a terminal and you're typing these things, press tab and it will automatically complete things or give suggestions for what to do. It saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, you might have to press it twice to get the suggestions to come up. Once will autocomplete. If it can't, then you have to do it a second time and it'll bring up all the options. And I believe if you just press tab on a blank command line, it'll be like, do you want to display like 1,000 possible options? Because it'll try and tab complete. It'll give you all of the commands you can possibly run.
So I just did tab on the GL server, and it actually lists the directories.
Okay.
Which
the behavior might differ from platform to platform.
It does not work on my normal system, so that's just the GL thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have a giant file name and you don't feel like typing it, type the first word and click tab, and it fills out the whole thing.
So removing files is kind of similar to every other command. You just rm and then the file, and then it has arguments. So tac-r is
recursive.
Recursive. So that can be done on any folder. And then the F means for, so you might have like read protected files or files that are marked to not be deleted very easily. So rm in combination with rf means recursively and forcefully delete every file in that subdirectory. So anytime,
very dangerous.
So you'll use that command kind of occasionally, but anytime I do type that, if I'm typing rm-rf, I'll just pause for a second and make sure that I'm targeting the exact right directory I want to, because there's no recycle bin usually, especially with rm-rf. And it's just going to immediately delete all the files, and it's going to delete it much quicker than Windows. So you type that, you can't really cancel it in time. Usually you'll delete a huge chunk of files before you can stop it. If you replace tester1 there with a slash, you'll pretty much wipe your entire file system. Armdir, you can use it to more safely delete a directory if it's empty, so that's like a really safe option.
Yay, more commands.
Okay, go through everything. Yes, so the most important one of them all is man. It's short for manual. It basically, you type in man and whatever's after it, and it'll pull up the manual that came installed with the package. It's like a user guide for everything you could ever want or need. And it will tell you basically everything you need to know about the command. If you don't want to open up a terminal, you can actually Google man something, and the first 2 or 3 results will typically be the man pages that you'd find on any Linux system. So like if you wanted right now to Google man, I guarantee you will find okay, never mind, it's a music band.
I love Google.
I didn't try this. If you do man ls in Google, the first result is man7.org, which is what I'm talking about. So read that, and it'll tell you, like I said, everything you need to know. So don't forget it. I mentioned here that it has the same navigation as the less command, which I think is mentioned later. But I can explain that when we get to it. Next slide, Richard. Okay, so here's just a screenshot of it briefly. It's blurrier than I had expected, but whatever. basically, this is what it looks like. I said on the top corners, you've got the like what it's for. This is the man page for man. The middle thing is saying where it's from, like I guess which package. And then I didn't get to put a box around it, but at the very bottom where you see all the numbers that are listed, those are the sections. So most things are in one section, but a few things like library calls or system calls are typically in multiple. And you can specify which one it's in by putting the number as the first argument, and then the second argument being whatever. So those are all here. Just know man is super important. Next slide. Okay, text editors. So there's multiple ones. The first one is Nano. It's probably the easiest because as soon as you open it up, the bottom of the screen has it has a lot of the commands you need to actually like use it and navigate it. So it is the most straightforward to use. And just in case you didn't read the bottom of the screen, if you're doing it, Control X is to exit, and then it'll say you have unsaved changes. Do you want to save? You'd hit yes, no, or cancel. And then if you hit yes, you hit enter to save it under whatever file name, and then it'll close. The next one is VI or Vim, and they are probably the oldest of all of these editors, I think, but it means that it's on every system you have, like guaranteed. So if at the very least you need to know how to save and exit, which is W and Q, and actually VI and Vim, to actually type something, you have to hit the insert key, or I believe I, and you can start typing stuff. It's a bit weird to get used to. I don't remember all the exact stuff, but just at the very least know how to type in it and know how to save and quit, so that way you can use it if you have to.
If you get good at VI or Vim, it's incredibly quick. It's probably the fastest way to program. If you see someone who knows what they're doing or is a fast typer, they just shred through programming stuff. It's crazy how fast they can go.
Yeah, it can get like that. And then Emacs, which I think they teach in like 201.
And 202.
202, yeah. I haven't really used it. I know it's kind of like a more full-featured editor, but it's an option. Again, there are, editor wars of which one's the best. Just pick one that works. I personally just use Nano because it's simple.
Who's needs to be muted? Server mute. Thank you. Cool.
Okay, next slide. Right, those weren't animated. Cool. Okay, so here's the output stuff. So Echo, as we kind of talked about, it basically just repeats everything you give it. It's simple enough. It's more a utility thing than it is like a practical, I guess. Not really. Cat is short for concatenate, and that is how you read files without having to open them in an editor. You just cat whatever the file is, and it'll print it out in all of its glory, including if it's a binary file, and you'll get lots of crap on screen. Oh, and actually, before I forget, if you happen to print lots of crap out on your screen and your prompt is messed up and have really weird characters that are no longer English, just type in reset and hit enter, and your terminal will return to normal. You won't be able to read reset, but just type it and hit enter, and it works either way. So then less is similar to cat, except it gives you a scrolling window, which you can use. So if you happen to be following along or on GL or something, do the second command there, the psef pipe less. That'll print out all the processes running, and you can use the up and down and left and right arrow keys to scroll through it. The two keys on the right there that I mentioned, just G and capital G, those are easy ways to jump to the beginning or end of it, so you don't have to sit there hitting page down or holding the down arrow key or whatever. those will jump you to the front or back.
Well,
super
I just
fast.
learned something.
I didn't know
It's
that
useful.
either.
And then I'm just going to throw it out here because why not? If you want to search, type in / and then start typing and then hit enter and it'll search, I believe, case sense. Actually, I don't remember if it's case sensitive or not. But / type in something and hit enter will search. And then if you want to search for the same thing again, just hit / and enter and it'll automatically do the last thing you searched for down from where you're looking. So if you're at the bottom of the file and something's above it, it won't find it. You can do question mark and it'll reverse search, but this is all more advanced stuff that I don't expect you to remember. Next slide, yeah. Okay, wildcards. These are super useful. So basically, it just means anything. And you can combine it with extra stuff. So the most common ones are if you do *dot an extension, it will give you all of the extensions, all the files with that extension. You can even prefix it with something like you could say, I want file -* and it'll give you all files that start with file - and then anything else. So for like the ls command, if you're to do ls*, it will actually list files and directories just because of how the command works. As mentioned, be careful if you're doing rm just in general. Like if it's not a single file spelled out in full, be very careful. So rm* will remove everything. And then a side note on that is sometimes the * doesn't quite find files that start with a dot just because of how the shell is set up. So yeah, it's weird with those. The next thing is the pipe operator, which was kind of shown on the last slide or two. And it basically takes, with the PS there, it basically takes the output from one command and puts it to the input of another command. You can frequently chain together lots of things. So one thing you could do is you could say cat file into grep, which is a search tool, and then you can search the file. You don't need to do that. You can just use the grep command itself for that, but it's just a nice way to chain things together in one long, ugly one-liner that does stuff for you. And I don't think they're mentioned on here, but if you use the greater than and less than symbol, they will redirect. So the greater than symbol is like a right arrow. It takes the output and writes it to a file. Can be useful for various things if you want to save the output.
If you want to write something to a text file using the terminal, you can do echo, whatever you want to write, and then 2 greater than symbols, and then the file, and it'll dump that into the file. Keep in mind, it will delete everything else within that file, so be careful with that.
Only the single. The 2 greater than's appends to it.
2 greater than appends, single doesn't? Okay.
Yep.
You can also do more than one command by doing 2 ampersands. So if you do command 1 and command 2, it'll do one and then the other back to back.
Yeah. We should probably not get too much into the shell stuff because there's a lot.
We're very passionate about Linux around here.
Click through. This one's got some text. Okay, so searching. This one can be quite useful. And as I learned earlier tonight, there's a lot of cool things you can do with the find command, but it is basically your search, is how you find files, ironically enough, or aptly enough on the command. So you can basically do find and then type in whatever directories you want it to search, however many you want. Typically you just do dot or /, but as shown there, you can do multiple. And then afterwards, you just give it flags. If you give it nothing, it will list every file starting from those directories you gave it. Some of the common ones are -name, which searches for the name. Case sensitive. If you do -I name, it will do case insensitive. I basically always do case I or do I name because rarely do I care about capitalization. Then the other one is type F, which is saying the type of the entry is a file. The other common one would be D for directory. I think you can do L for link. You'd have to look up the rest are, but F is the common one. And there's a whole host of, look at the man pages. They have examples and stuff. But find is super powerful. You can have it run commands for you. It's great. So just the picture, real quick, just the picture there is I'm searching for all files. The star there. So the star is actually passed, I believe, literally to the find command. Because the directory I ran it in, there are no C files. So giving find the literal star .c is giving it the pattern, saying I want to just find every C file, and you can see some of the C files on my GL directory. Next.
I forgot to finish the slide.
Yeah, I didn't get to it either. Okay, so grep is basically searching file contents. And this is probably one of the most used commands you'll ever see. And so yeah, you just type grep, and then the I there, similar to find, is saying do an insensitive case search. And then whatever string you want to give it, and then everything after the first argument, or everything after the string, is just files. So you can give it a bunch of files. And then if you do the R, you can do a directory. I believe N is like line numbers or something.
Yep.
But okay, cool. I don't use it very often.
So the pipe, I believe there's actually an example earlier.
We'll actually be showing it in the lab, so don't worry about it.
Oh, all right, cool.
Cool. And then some keyboard shortcuts. Control L, that's an L, not an I, clears the screen.
You could also just type the word clear, and it'll clear the screen.
And depending on it, clear will clear it and remove all scroll back. And Control L may or may not do that. It depends on the system. Sometimes it'll just do a new page or carriage return or something, where you can still scroll back, but it forces all the output off of the screen. So that there's a minor difference there, and it's just system dependent.
Control C, we all know and love. If you have an infinite loop, you press Control C to stop it.
Yes, Control C is quite important to know. And then Control A is just a shortcut it's basically a shortcut for the home key. Control E is a shortcut for the end key. Control R is one that is super useful. Is if, say, you've typed in 10 commands in recent history, one of them was, I don't know, a really long string of commands you ran, one of which included the sort command. If you did Control R and then started typing out the word sort, it would search your history starting from the current moment backwards and find the first command that has the string you typed. That's
really useful. I didn't know that.
So actually, we didn't even mention this. If you hit the up and down arrow keys, it goes through your history starting from the current moment. That's anyone who's used it probably already knows this. But up and down arrow keys go back and forth in your history. But if you don't want to keep pressing the up arrow key a dozen times to find a command, Control R searching for it will almost likely be faster than just spamming the up key.
I'm probably going to use that a whole lot.
Yeah, it's super useful. And I had clear the screen reminded me of something that I wanted to mention, but I'm trying to remember what it is at the moment.
Yay. Is this it?
I think, yeah, because I think we blew through everything, and then we're going to do demos after this.
Cool. It's meme generator. Great. That's really disappointing.
Okay, so I guess before we do anything, Are there any commands since we kind of just, or any commands, any questions since we just kind of went? Control Z does not kill a program. Control Z suspends it. And actually, let me.
So there's actually
There is Control D, which like also like more than kills it. I don't know the whole thing.
Hold on. If everyone wants to jump on my thing, I can demonstrate some commands real quick. So I'm just gonna give a minute for people to hop on here.
So are you streaming it?
Yeah, I'm just streaming one of my terminals.
One of his many terminals. He only has about 10 up right now, so don't worry too much about it.
Actually, only have one up. Shocker. Okay, so for those of you joining, so Control Z is suspend. So sleep is a command. Sleep. If you give it, -- help. Basically, every command type in do -- help will give you some info. So sleep. If I just give it like 5 seconds, it will just sit here, and 5 seconds later, it'll be done. So if I wanted to say sleep 10 seconds, hit Control C, it's just done. If I do it again and hit Control Z, it says stopped. It doesn't say.
There's another thing to do this, and I'm not sure if I should go into it just because it's kind of niche. Although I have actually used it a lot. If you type in if you suspend a program like this, if you click Control Z, suspend the program, and type in the letters BG for background, it'll put it into the background. So you still have control over your terminal, but it continues on running. The one thing to note is all the outputs of it will still pop up on your screen.
Yeah,
so if he types in like ping 8.8.8.8, which is Google's DNS server, and types background, those pings will still show up, but he can actually use the terminal anyway.
Yeah, so I can demonstrate those now. So Control Z, it's suspended. If you type in jobs, as I showed, it lists every job that is in the background currently. So then, as Richard said, if you do, background 1, where 1 is just the number in the bracket here, then I do that, and no, I guess finished already.
That was quick.
Probably because sleep just does a time check and not an actual sleep.
Oh, well then if you do ping, you can...
Okay, that would make sense, yeah. So, and then...
So for reference, ping, all it is basically reaching out to somewhere on the internet, whatever IP address you give it, or website, and says, hey, are you there? And they'll respond, yes, I'm there.
So this is Google's DNS. So I Control Z, it stops it. See, it stopped there. And then if I hit background 1, you can see it continues to print stuff. But I can sit here and, like, if I type in ls, it still prints a bunch of stuff. So then I can
get quite messy. There's some ways to make it less messy, but that's way beyond what we are doing here. FG will bring it into the foreground.
Yeah, so if you do FG1 and then Control Z, it'll stop it again. I was trying to remember if there's a way to stop it without foregrounding, but
I'd usually just foreground and then Control C to kill it.
Okay, yeah, so it's stopped again. So if I do foreground 1 this time, it's continuing. But if I hit enter, there's blank space because I'm not in my shell. If I do ls, nothing. It's because I was actually in the command. So then I can stop it. So that's what Control Z is compared to Control C. And then RJ mentioned.
Are there any other questions that we can get derailed on?
Yeah, I'm gonna do Control D real quick because RJ mentioned it. So like if you cat without any arguments, it does standard input. So it does that, and then Control C can exit. Control D also will, and Control D is the shortcut for end of file. Which, fun fact, actually, if you do Python instead of Control C, which doesn't exit, if you do Control D, it actually exits Python, the interpreter. So that one might be more useful to people than not.
Wasn't there like a secret program that's like prints out a cow?
I believe it's apt, and I do not have apt because
You're on Arch.
No, it's Kause, but
It's Kause.
yeah, right.
But
There's also SL and oh gosh, Chris, why do you hate yourself?
yeah, I don't have SL installed. I could probably, and I'm not going to install it now. Oh boy. Color scheme. Okay, hold on. Let me change. Is that? I can change it to green. Okay.
What was Calce? You said? Do you have
I don't have
Calce?
Calce. I do not have Calce.
It's
I
disappointing.
can demo Kause in my part.
All right,
It's-
cool.
it's,
It's a very important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, RJ. So RJ, I guess if you're gonna do Bandit now.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I will stop streaming, and everyone can go watch RJ now do Bandit over the wire, which is basically it's like an online Linux tutorial thing, but yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start sharing. All right. So everyone should be able to see my Chrome window. So we're going to do. I'll just be showing something called Bandit, which is a really nice tool for helping you learn different commands on Linux. There's a ton.
Don't use it quite yet because apparently we've killed it before with
I'll
the
keep going
sheer
on my
power of
phone, so,
UMB.
I mean, you can do it if you want, but save it for later.
Try to spread out the load. Don't crush their servers.
So everyone should be able to see my Chrome window, right?
Mine's still loading.
It is on the
Okay, so
stream, so
read
that's
questions.
good.
All right. All right. So what we're going to need for this is basically what this is that Over the Wire is hosting this set of labs on their server somewhere on the internet, and we have to log into their Linux server remotely using a protocol called SSH. So if you've done GL on Linux, you should be, if you've done GL in like 201, you should be familiar with SSH, but it's basically just a protocol for connecting to a remote computer and then using the command line on that computer. So what you're going to need is if you're on Windows, you're going to need to download Putty. So I'll copy the link and put it in the Q&A for the stream. If you're on Linux, I'll show you how to do this if you're on a Mac or have a Linux host, which I don't know why you'd be coming to this meeting, but I'll show you how to connect using the terminal instead of Putty. Okay, so I think most people are joined. I see 22 viewers. So I'll start demoing what Putty looks like. So after you've installed it, you can open up Putty, and then you will see their sessions window. Right? And Bandit tells us where we want to SSH to. So we have to SSH to their website, bandit.labs.overthewire.org. And they use a non-standard port of 2220. So you have to type that in this port box right here. So it might be a little small, but we're going to bandit.labs.overthewire.org, port 2220. And we're going to save this as a session so we can reuse it multiple times. So I'm just going to name it Bandit. And then, so then the save sessions window, you can give it the name Bandit and then hit save. If I want to reload and then use this session sometime else, I just hit load and it will automatically fill in these boxes. So if I were to like exit Putty and open it, click Bandit and then hit load, it would load the configuration settings I already typed in so that we can just go to this easily. And then when you want to SSH to Bandit, you just hit open. It'll open your Putty window. And then the directions say we have to log in as the username bandit0 with the password bandit0. So I'm going to do that. Actually, let me set my window size in Putty so that you guys can see that better. I had that set before, and then I redid the...
So, I don't know about everyone else. I'm having trouble getting the screen to actually load.
Well, you can always look at the stream, thankfully.
Oh, it's on
still up.
YouTube, right?
Yep.
Okay. Are people having trouble So besides Chris, is anyone else having trouble? I hear a lot of like people coming in and out. I can't read the questions easily. A lot of people can't. Okay. Loading forever, can't see. Okay. Let me mess with my settings then.
Yeah, so on the channel up,
I'm gonna
there is a YouTube
I'm going to
stream.
edit the stream quality.
Make sure it's still high.
It was at
No, not
720, but I'm
480p.
changing it to 460.
No, because that's going to kill the YouTube stream.
I'm going back to 720. Okay.
Okay, it's loaded for me now, so I'm...
Oh my god, it looks so bad on the YouTube with 480.
Okay. Is this visible? Are people all right? And I can't read the chat easily, so someone tell me from the Cyberdogs.
They can see now, it seems.
Yep.
All right, it's all good? All right. So
Seems
we are
to be.
logged in as Bandit Zero on this this website for doing these different Linux challenges. And the first challenge is basically just to log in using SSH, so we've already done that one. So it says, once you're logged in, go to the level 1 page and find out how to beat level 1. And then the directions for level 1 say, the password for the next level is stored in a file called readme in the home directory. Use this password to log into Bandit 1, which is a new user using SSH. So whenever we find a new password, we'll have to SSH to the next user. And then it'll give you a list of commands that might be helpful. You don't need all of them, but it's a list of things that you can try out as hints.
If you want to exit an SSH connection on Mac or Linux, I don't know if it works in Putty, you can always type in exit and it'll close it.
Yep. Oh, actually, you reminded me, I have to show how to actually get to this on Linux or Mac. So if you're on Mac, you can actually just use the SSH command and type SSH to bandit0 at bandit.labs@overthewire.org.
Are you doing something on your thing?
Can you not see, Kelly?
It's frozen.
Great. I am going to stop changing windows and just stick to, I guess, Chrome and Putty.
I can't see Putty either, and I'm looking at the stream.
It looks fine
Stop
here.
watching. Start watching. Let's just reload it. Oh, I know.
It probably just doesn't like me changing windows so often.
Well, now the stream's not loading. That's
Might be
unfortunate.
getting around it. It works all right here.
All right, I'm going to only stream Putty, and then I'll read out the instructions over Bandit, and hopefully that will fix some things. So I'm going to stop streaming.
Okay, we're going to need
Actually, I'm
to
going to...
pause for a hot second because I need to close out Discord and then do a bunch of garbage. Oh, no, it's back. It's back. Okay, good.
I switched to it only shares Putty. So hopefully that will fix things, and I'll just read out the Bandit instructions. I'll post the link to the Bandit website so that you can follow along.
Yeah, it's probably easier for you to follow along on the website. The instructions, at least.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Bandit 0, we can get the flag to the next level by reading the file called readme in the home directory. So the first thing is, where's the home directory? So there's a command we mentioned called pwd, which is print working directory, and it will tell you where you are. So currently we are in /home/bandit0, which is the home directory for the Bandit 0 user. So we're already in the correct directory. If we needed to change... What, Richard?
If you weren't in the home directory?
We would use CD to get to it.
CD, and then the tilde key will bring you to the home directory.
You don't even need to do that. You can just do CD.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So CD as well as CD tilde will take you to the home directory. And then to list all of the files in a directory, we can type ls. And we see the README file that they mentioned that we're supposed to read. To print out a file, we can either use cat or less. So let's do cat.
You can also use a program called tail, which will just read the end of the file.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, but we'll just use cat.
Yeah, let's try and keep it simplistic.
Cat will print out the content of the file. So this is the password to the next level. Since I'm going to keep it on... So I guess I could just do like SSH bandit 1 at 127.001.
I swear to God if this works.
It's 2220.
Oh, you're right. Actually, I can just do this.
Oh yeah, so you don't have to.
Ha!
He's
oh my God. All right.
Into a computer and then
So
SSH
I tried it earlier and SU doesn't work. Or sorry, it would be. Yeah, anyway, I tried SU earlier, but SSH does appear to work. So that keeps you from having to switch windows, so that's really janky, but it does work. Ordinarily, you just close your Putty session and open a new one for Bandit 1, but we'll do this.
We like the jank.
Yeah. So now I'm Bandit 1, so I'm in I'm in the next level. And let's read out the instructions. So the next level, the password for the next level is stored in a file called dash, located in the home directory. So we know we're in the home directory for Bandit 1. And we see this file named dash. Unfortunately, dash is kind of a special character because it's used for denoting flags, as well as it's got something to do with like standard in and standard out. Are people still able to hear the stream? I heard a couple people logging in and out.
Yeah, I think there's just people leaving.
Okay. So if we want to read this file, like if we just do ls dash, if we do ls dash, which is the name of the file we're trying to read, it'll just break and not give us any, it'll be cat. It just breaks because cat is expecting an argument here. So it's still waiting for more input for the command to finish.
It's standard input is why it's doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like if you were to type hi, it would do the thing I showed earlier with.
Mm-hmm. So this is actually a really tricky, this one actually stumped me and I had to Google it.
I got
Do you
it.
put it in quotes?
Let's try putting it in quotes.
It?
Not quotes. I tried those both. It's not backslash either.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it is.
You can refer to a file by its full path. So we know that we're at /home/bandit1.
You don't need full path here.
We don't. Yeah, but I'm going to show it a couple ways.
//
So this is the full path of this file. So /home. So / is the root of the file system. /bandit1 is the directory we're inside of, and then /dash is the name of the file we want to print out, and that'll do it. An easier way is just do cat./dash. This is a really weird one. So dot is the current directory you're in, and then / means that I'm going to do the file inside of this directory, and then dash is the name of the file. It's a real. I never would have tried this myself, but it works too. I probably would have gone with this solution, which to me makes more sense. But you can print out the full path of the file.
Can you try single quotes?
It doesn't work.
Well earlier.
I tried. I had to do /.
And I also tried backticks, which is like a weird bash thing.
Backticks are a command.
Yeah.
That's weird.
In any case, it would be /home/bandit1. Note that I'm tab completing some of this to make it faster to type. And then we have our password. So SSH bandit2 at...
Just do localhost.
Banditception.
By the end of this, I gotta have like a 10 nested deep SSH connection. Okay. Alright, so now we're Bandit 2. Let's read the challenge.
So for reference, when he's typing 127.0.0.1, was it?
Mm-hmm.
That is basically, it's the computer going out to the network and saying, hey, I need to talk to myself.
It's not even going to the network at that point.
Well, that's, again, this is to make it easier.
Yeah, conceptually it's going out to the network to talk to itself, but in reality it never actually leaves the machine.
Are there any questions in chat? Any questions before we move on? And people will have to read them out to me because I can't see it easily.
I don't see any.
Okay, cool. So we're on Bandit 2. For this challenge, we have a file with spaces in the name, and we need to read that one out. There's a couple ways to do it. First, we can just quote it. So we could do cat spaces in names. Oh, crap. Cat. That solved it the other way. Notice that I tab completed it. So if you put quotes around a string, it'll treat it all as one argument, even though there's spaces inside of it. So this is being treated as all one argument rather than 4 arguments. And that prints our password. We could also do backslashes. That's apparently the default way. Notice again that I tab completed, so I just typed SP and then tab, and then it filled it out all for me, which is really handy. And that would work as well. So both of those are solutions for dealing with other types of special characters. If you name your files like that, like a heathen, I just put underscores between things that would be spaces in file names, and you'd never do
Yeah,
this.
avoid spaces and file
Mhm.
names. That's just the general rule of thumb.
Okay, and dashes, as we saw from the previous one. So SSH bandit.
Actually, dashes work in the file name, just not as
Yeah,
the
but I
file
think
name.
it's ugly.
Yeah, it's...
All right,
Yeah.
we have to get deeper.
we
All
must go deeper.
How do you
Okay.
feel about dashes and underscores in a file name?
Oh God, don't mix them. Okay, so the password for the next level is stored in a hidden file in the in here directory. So let's see. So we're still in the home directory of Bandit 3 now, and it's inside of the in here directory. So in Bash, you'll typically see that directories are in blue. If I were to do ls-l, it would show me this D flag shows me that this is a directory right here on the very left. But typically, you can just see that it's blue. So we have to go into this directory. So if we want to cd into the directory, as in change directory, we do cd in here. And now if I type pwd, our current location is /home/bandit3/in here. If I wanted to go back a level, I could do cd ... And now I'm back into /home/bandit3, which was the level below. I'm going to go back into in here. So cd in here. You could also put the full path of the file. So I could do cd /home/bandit3/in here.
You can also just ls with the full path.
Yep.
If you just want to list the directories without moving into them.
Yeah. I'll show that solution as well. And then they mentioned that it was inside of a hidden file in this directory. So like if I just type ls, there doesn't look like there's anything here. If I give it the -a flag, it will print all of the hidden files, which includes dot, which is the symlink to the current directory itself, ... which links one directory backwards, and then you can also hide a file by starting the name with a dot. And so .hidden is the file containing the flag, so cat.hidden, and it's there. You could also give the full file path /home/bandit3/in here/.hidden, and it would do the same thing. All right, so that's level 3. Another level. Okay, so for the next challenge, the password is stored in the only human readable file in the in here directory. So let's cd into in here and hit ls, and it looks like there's 10 different files, file 00 through file 09. They all start with a dash, which means that we'll have to use the trick from the second challenge to actually address them from the command line. And we can also use the wildcard operator to kind of help us out here as well. And I'll explain what I mean by that in a sec. So what we want to do here is we want to use something called the file command. We actually didn't mention it in the slides, but there's a command called file, which will give you information about whatever you provide. So if I were to do, for example, file, and then I'm going to give the full path so that I don't have to deal with the weird dash character.
Could you
/home.
do star file star?
No, because this just makes a list of all the possible
No.
arguments, and then it still can't interpret them because it.
Star and then the word file and the word star. As in there's wildcards on either end of the word file.
No,
Nope.
Oh.
because it still treats them as arguments or as the standard in thing.
Mm.
So you literally do have to refer to it weirdly like that. So I'm just going to give it the full path of one of them. So file /home/bandit4/in here/-file 00. And file tells me the type of this, and it says it's just data.
Could you replace the 00 with star?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
And that should do all of them.
Yep, and that's the solution. So it tells me that the only file containing text, specifically ASCII text, ASCII is an encoding. If you've heard of Unicode, ASCII is a way of encoding characters, kind of like Unicode, where it only uses 1 byte per character. You'll probably,
String.
yeah. So we know that. So we know that the password's in the only text file in this directory. So let's cat this out. So cat. If I highlight something in Linux, it will copy it, and then if I right-click, it will paste it I haven't mentioned that yet.
It's a
but that's
Putty thing.
Mm-hmm. It's also a thing on a lot of Linux command lines.
Did you do something?
What do you mean?
There it is.
It froze.
Also, the strings command works.
Oh, come on.
All right. So did our
Give it a pause. This YouTube stream is being dumb.
okay.
Come on.
Oh, there's a question in Bandit 4/in here. I did ls-a. What are the blue dots that appear? Let me do that again.
They can't see if they're watching the stream.
Oh, okay. I will get to that as soon as the stream is fixed then. Or actually, I can talk about it now. So there are 2 blue dots. So the single blue dot refers to the current directory. So if I do cd dot, I'll just go to my current location. And then the dot, the 2 dots refer to the direct one level out. I'll give you a demonstration of what it looks like in the stream once it's fixed. Are there any other questions I can answer right now?
Come on, stream. Oh my god! I clicked stop watching right after it started working. That's so upsetting.
All right. Just give me a heads up when it is fixed. All right. I'm glad I answered that question. I see another person say they're stuck loading. So hopefully it fixes itself soon.
We'll just put that there, maybe.
Here, I would have said let's ask the people in the stream to guess answers, but we've already gone way past the point of expecting them to know the answers.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is so annoying. All right, you know what I think I'm gonna do? Does Microsoft not have Solitaire anymore? I was gonna play Solitaire on stream.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm waiting for it to load, and I was trying to find something new. I suppose I could play a different video game.
Okay, there's another question that says, how do we open -file07? I used cat and then provided the full path to that file. So the issue is that the file name starts with a dash.
Haha, it's up.
Got it?
Thank God.
All right, so I can actually start talking again.
Okay.
Okay, so the 2 questions. The first was what the dots meant. So the single dot means my current location. So if I do ls dot, it will just do ls of the current directory. And then dot means go 1 backwards. So ls dot would give me the directory below me.
You can actually go farther backwards if you.
Yep, you can do like ls dot slash. And that gives me all the directories below that one as well. And then I think slash.
Can you list out the next bandit from that out of curiosity? Because
there's various permissions, but that is one of the challenges we'll get to.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I were to go back 3 levels, that just takes me to the root directory.
Fun fact, you can go back farther and it doesn't actually change anything. If you keep doing .. nothing.
There's
I would have assumed that would just be like.
On a side note, there's actually on poorly configured web servers, you can actually type .. in your address bar, and it can potentially. Yeah.
We'll talk about that during our web hacking lecture, but that's a directory traversal vulnerability. Okay, the other question was how to print out file07. So again, because this dash character at the beginning of the file name prevents it from being parsed as an argument correctly, I just gave it the full path. So /home /bandit4 /in here /file07. And that's how I printed it out. If I were just to do like cat -file07, it treats the dash as a flag. and it will not let me, do that.
Yeah.
And then
You
same
can
as
al-
things
you
like
can-
the quotes.
You can do / either. It's faster and has the same effect.
Yeah,
No,
the
what
/
did I
means the
do?
file 07 in the current directory.
I clicked it and it started loading again. Oh,
Are you kidding?
I'm so sorry.
Dude, Discord is so finicky with that.
Who's the admin of this server? Can you check the
Henry.
quality of? Oh, of course, Henry is. He's not here.
If
I
I
mean,
change
we-
this to 480p, does it break everything?
Change it forward and back again. Maybe that'll fix it.
Oh shoot, I didn't want to do that. Well,
Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
This is the
how
first.
about this?
All right, let's see how potato it is. Well, it doesn't seem to want to load.
Mine loaded quickly and it's potato.
Connect. Watch stream. Okay. And then I'm just going to adjust the size, I suppose, and not have it in a pop-out window.
I think it did that if you clicked on the stream itself and not on the window.
All right. I'm going to adjust that. Move you there. And then, like, make it wider, maybe? All right, good enough for me.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna keep going then. So we have our password for the next level. All right, and the next question says, the password for the next level is stored in a file somewhere under the in here directory and has certain properties. It's human readable and it's 1033 bytes in size. So for now, we can use a command called find, which we talked about, and look for all of the files of 1033 bytes. So let's start with that. So I'm going to go to in here. And there's a bunch of directories, and we don't want to take our time looking through all of them because there's a lot of files in each one. It looks like there's a ton of files in all of them.
There's also hidden files.
Yep. So we're not going to deal with that. So we can use the find command. If I do find dot, it will recursively look through all the files starting at my current directory. I could also give it a full path, like find /home/bandit5 /in here. But either of those works. So I'll just do find dot. And then I need to provide the size command. I think it's -size.
Yeah, it's just -size.
And then 1033 bytes. And to specify we're searching in bytes, we have to add the C character at the end. It's a really weird quirk of this command. But there's different things, like you'd search like megabytes, like MB, or like gigabytes, or like kilobytes. And then just a single bytes is just C. The only file with that exact size is this maybe hero 7 /dot file 2. So we're going to do cat on that. And we get our password. It appears that the rest of the file, the remaining bytes, were just spaces or something. So I'm going to copy this and SSH to the next one. Are there any questions about this one before I move on?
How did you know they're hidden files? Because I did the challenge earlier. I worked my way up to like bandit 12 or 13 before the stream started. So I know they're hidden files because I was messing with the find command.
Okay, so I'm bandit 6. So this is going to be a similar challenge. It says the password for the next level is stored somewhere on the server and has all of the following properties. It's owned by the user bandit 7. It's owned by the group bandit 6. And it's 33 bytes. So again, we're going to try using the find command. So to say anywhere on the server, so we're going to start from the root of the file system. And then let's just try /size for starters. /33 bytes. And this is going to give us a bunch of errors because we don't have permissions to view those files. So we'll see permission denied from a ton of stuff. So if we want to get rid of this is a bit out of scope, but I believe it's &2 /dev null. Is that correct, Chris?
I think 2 dev null might just work, but try it. I always forget where the ampersand goes for redirecting.
Yeah, me too. Is it 2 ampersand? Oops.
No, I think it.
Yeah, that's not right. I think it's. Let's just try 2. No, ampersand 2. I think. Nope.
Oh yeah, do just.
Wait.
Discord, please.
Okay.
I'm just glad I wasn't doing this during the actual presentation because this is not
Hold on.
great.
I think I'm just throwing everything into dev null. How do I get rid of? How do I?
Maybe you could do pipe, like a. I don't know. Can you exclude?
It's sorry. I
not-
think I.
It's just 2. It's just 2 greater than.
Oh, you're right. So I got a bunch of files that
The
are of
stream's
size
not
33
working, by
bytes.
the way.
What, Richard?
It's being dumb again. Up there, it's
Oh,
back.
okay. Cool. All right. So just specifying the size gave me a bunch of possible files, and we don't want to run through them. So it looks like we need to add some more commands to find, see what works.
Even though it's at the bottom there, we can ignore that for the moment.
Oh yeah. So even though it is this file, but if we want to narrow it down more, the constraint said it only wanted files owned by user bandit7 and by group bandit6. So I think that's -user bandit7 and -group bandit6. I hope this will work. Yep. Okay. So find lets you specify the user owner and the group owner of a file. So we did that here, and we also specified it had to be 33 bytes in size. This, don't worry about it too much, but it basically shoved any errors into the garbage so they weren't printed to us. So don't worry about that, but you might see this some places. All right, so we have our file. This is the only one that matches all those conditions. So we're going to cat it out, and then go to our next challenge. We're getting close to being done. We'll probably only do up to 10. But then I would encourage you to do the rest on your own time if you want. They're really good for learning some Linux commands. So bandit7 at localhost. We're 7 layers deep. Okay, so for this challenge, it says that the password for the next level is stored in the file data.txt next to the word millionth. So I'm going to use the less command just so I can scroll through this file. So less data.txt, and we can assume that there's a bunch of words separated by like tabs and then possible passwords. And we don't have time to go through all of this. Although I do remember actually you saying, Chris, you could search for stuff in here.
You can. And that's not the solution I did, but I was about to suggest we do it.
I'll show the actual solution, but yeah. So if you type / and then type a word, it will search for you. So I hit enter after searching for word millionth, and it's right here. So I guess one solution is less. But the actual way I would recommend is using a command called grep. So the way grep works is you say grep, and then you give it a pattern or something to search for. So I'm going to say I want to search for the word millionth. And then you say the file you want to search or the directory you want to search. And it will do that for me as well. So it pulled out this line. It'll basically print out all lines matching this pattern. There's a ton of flags you can set to grep. You can make it case insensitive. You can print out line number. So if like I wanted to know what line this occurred on, I'd say grep-n, and it would tell me it's on line 37,262. And here's
I had a friend of mine make a 40-line grep command to do all sorts of random stuff.
Yeah, it's really handy. Grep is really nice.
You can have it print context, like you can have it print the lines around it, before it, after it.
You can have it search directories. It's really handy. All right, so we have our next one.
Does it tell? Oh, it tells you which line it is. So if you were to scroll through that manually, that's 37,000 something.
right, so we're on 8. 8 says the password for this next level is stored in the file data.txt, and it's the only line of text that occurs once. So this is one of the trickier ones. This one will involve kind of chaining together multiple commands. So there's one command that we want to use called unique, where if you have multiple lines next to each other that are identical, it will combine them into the same line. And if you use the unique -c command... What, Richard?
Can we do something a little bit different?
Let me show this, and then you can try yours.
Okay. Or would be using the same commands. I'm suggesting making a bash file since we're using a bunch of commands.
We're going to save that for Linux 2 next week.
Okay, cool.
Also, I don't know if I'm allowed to write on this server.
I think you can write to temp, but just don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if I were to say unique-c, it would go through a file and then count how many times each line occurred in a row. So like if I had one line that said like cat and then the next line said cat, it would print 2 and then cat, because cat occurred next to each other twice. If in this case though, like if we type less on data.txt, it doesn't appear that it has things in order, so we need to sort it first. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort data.txt, and then all of the lines that are identical should appear like in a row. And then we can use our unique command to find out how many times or how many different copies of the same line there are.
Yeah. Do you want to do less first and just show the sorted data just to show that it actually, does it?
Yep. So here's all the data sorted. I'm just kind of scrolling through it. And I guess you could get the answer by scrolling, but there's a lot of text.
There's 1,000 lines.
Yeah. So this pipe operator says, take the output of this command, this sort data.txt, and take the output and provide it as input to this command. So for example, it would be, basically I'm chaining these two commands together.
Yeah. If you were to not have less, it would just dump all of that out on screen.
Yeah.
Stream stopped again.
All right.
Give it a few.
Are there any questions in the meantime about what I'm doing so far? It's good. This is one of the more complicated ones. I see one that says, how did I know they're hidden files? The ls dash... Oh, sorry, no, Chris already answered that.
Was old.
Yeah. Also, the answer was a hidden file, so there's at least one.
Any luck, Richard?
No. This is quite annoying.
Mhm.
I wonder if I can see it on mine if I click watch stream. Oh, hello. All right, it's back.
All right.
Do something, make sure it works. RJ's muted.
Sorry about that. I had a quick call. All right, so we're all back and set.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. So we're going to sort data.txt and then pipe the output of the sorted commands to another command called unique. And this will count how many times each line occurs next to each other. And so you can see, for example, that all of these are duplicated 10 times in a row, except for one of them, which is this. So this is the only line that is unique to this file, and it's the password for this. So again, I'll show the command. We sort everything in here. Unique needs to be sorted so that you can see how many times each thing occurred next to each other. And the C flag will count that. So you can see every single one of these occurs 10 times in the file, except for this, which is going to be the password for the next challenge. Does that make sense to everyone? Are there any questions before I move on? And if there are questions, I can't read them. So, like Richard, let me know.
I'll.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next one.
Wait. We have someone typing.
Yeah.
Can't see screen again. LS TAC LA. All right. I don't know. Luckily, the stream is working, which is the main thing we're concerned about because that's the archived stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't see the screen, go to the stream. It's going to be a little bit delayed, but
Yeah, I know. The person's just answering the question in the chat. They didn't realize we answered it in here. Yeah, just continue, RJ, because
All right.
I don't want to keep the stream going forever as long as the recording is
we've
working.
only got this and one more challenge, and then we'll be done. So, all right. So for challenge 9, it says the password for this level is stored in data.txt in one of the few human-readable strings preceded by several equal sign characters. So there's a handy command in Linux called strings that will print out human-readable strings in a file. So it's handy for actually reverse engineering, which is one of the things I'm really into. So if you have a executable file, for example, it will, like, let's... I'm going to go off topic for a sec, but...
You doing a hex dump? What did I use?
Yeah, I'm hex dumping. This is the ls executable. You can see it's in the elf format, which is the format of executable files on Linux. A hex dump, oh gosh. A hex dump shows a byte, and then this is like the index of where it is in the file. It will show, oh god, this is the worst. Okay, I'm sorry about that. If I try to highlight, I have to stay like perfectly level. So one line is 16 bytes of the file, and then it shows any printable strings in here. Not all bytes can be represented as a printable character, like the null byte here is just nothing. So any dots are non-printable characters. And if I were to scroll through this hex dump, you can see that there's some sequences of printable strings like this one, which says /lib64/ld linux x8664.so, which is a shared object file on Linux. Presumably, this executable file to something like using that. If I were to keep scrolling, you'll probably see, here's a bunch of strings all in a row. These are the names of a bunch of different functions. Like you can see printf here, and stirchar. And so it's really handy for reverse engineers. But if I were to run the strings command on a file, it will show me all of the printables, all the sequences of printable characters. So we're going to use strings on data.txt. And it just prints them all out. And you can see most of them just kind of look garbage. If I want to search for any strings that have an equal sign in them, I can pipe the output of that command to grep and search through them. So I'll say grep equal sign. And we have narrowed it down a lot. And I actually see the password is, and then this. So this will be the password for the next level. Does that make sense to everyone?
I think we're good.
All right.
And then last one.
Yep. So one last challenge. And it says that data.txt is encoded as base 64. Decode it to get the flag. So if I just cat data.txt, you see this garbled up string that doesn't really mean anything. Base 64 is a way of encoding things into sequences of 6 bits. So it's a bit more of a compact representation than the typical ASCII encoding, which is 8 bits. So it can be used to like shrink things down a little bit.
It's also printable characters only.
Yes, it's only printable characters, which is really handy. So you'll see this used a lot, and it's common in CTFs, which we'll be talking about in 2 meetings. But basically, it contains all the lowercase characters from A to Z, the uppercase characters from A to Z, and then 0 to 9, and then / and $, and you'll commonly see equal signs at the end of it, and so that's one way to identify it. Linux has a command called base64, which you can use to encode or decode text as base64. So if I were to do like base64 hello, I don't know if I need to pass a file. Okay, so yeah, I do.
You need to do -E for encode.
Yeah, and I need to give it a file, so
just do dash and then type hello. Or the -E and then dash. Or yeah, just do that. Whatever. Yeah, you have to pipe.
Oh, I'm stupid. I'm trying to write to
Just do it.
Here's a man page. How do I encode? It only says
give the file name as dash. And then start -E space dash. And then you're just gonna have to type it in as just don't type in any quotes on it. You're gonna have to type it in after you run the command.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're not gonna we're just gonna say decode it. All right, so
yes.
base64 -D data. So what we saw is this string before is base64 encoded. When we decode it, we get the password is this. All right, so that's all 10 of the labs. Thanks for sticking with us. Are there any last minute questions?
I think the next one's super interesting with translate, or the one after that.
Mm-hmm. There's some cool ones, but
yeah,
I would recommend you guys try them out on your own time. This is a really good tool, and there's other ones that are of different like difficulties or focuses and topics. There's another one called Leviathan that's good. But Over the Wire has some really good sets of labs for learning this stuff.
Yeah, and of course, if you have the man pages, you can just go around on GL and start just messing around.
Chris.
All right, I'm going to stop